It started with a thunderclap that split the morning sky, followed by a deluge that turned the sleepy town of Red Hollow into a gray, waterlogged dream. I was already half an hour behind schedule, the kind of late that makes your heart pound and your mouth dry, knowing full well someone's counting on you to show up, and you're not there. But if I told you how it happened, you'd understand why I had no choice. I was supposed to be on my way to my daughter-in-law Emily's 32nd birthday brunch. Her first one since she and my son Jordan had their miracle baby after years of IVF heartbreak. She'd specifically asked me to come early. "I just want the baby to get used to your voice, you know?" She'd said over the phone, her tone soft with that hope only new mothers carry. But fate, in her twisted way, had something else planned. I was just getting into my car when I spotted it, a sleek black sports car. One of those foreign things that looked like it cost more than my entire street, stuck at the side of the road with steam billowing from under the hood. Normally, I'd have just driven past. But something about the woman standing there caught me. Maybe it was the way she kicked the tire in sheer frustration, or the way her tailored white coat looked like it didn't belong in our town. But what really froze me was her face. Not in recognition, but in a kind of disbelief, because despite the expensive car, the diamond studs, and the $100 hairstyle ruined by the rain, she looked lost. Not rich, lady who can call a tow truck lost, but soul deep kind of lost. I know that look. I wore it once, years ago, when my husband died suddenly of a brain aneurysm. That kind of grief doesn't wear designer. I pulled over. "You okay, ma'am?" I called out, rolling down my window. She turned toward me slowly, as if she'd heard my voice from a dream. "I think I blew the radiator," she said. Her voice was calm but tight, every syllable laced with unspoken fury. "It's overheating and I'm late for a meeting I've been trying to land for 6 years." I got out, grabbing the old mechanic gloves I kept in the trunk from my days working at Earl's Auto Repair. I hadn't turned a wrench in nearly a decade, but I couldn't just leave her there. "Pop the hood," I said. Now, before I go any further, you have to understand something. I'm not the kind of man who plays hero. Not anymore. I used to. Back when I was younger, full of dreams about owning my own garage, raising a family, retiring on a lake somewhere. But life had other plans. After Jordan's mother died, I lost my footing. I missed birthdays. I drank too much. I said things to my son I can never unsay. We drifted. Then he met Emily, and she started stitching us back together with every quiet dinner, every careful nudge, every reason to show up again. I owe her everything. So being late for her, on this day, was not something I took lightly. But there I was, under the hood of a McLaren 720S, swearing quietly as rain poured into my collar and fogged my glasses. "I don't suppose you have coolant?" I asked. She looked sheepish. "I have Dyer perfume and a bottle of Veuve Clicquot in the trunk." Not quite the same. Her name was Aria Devlin, and yes, that Aria Devlin, the reclusive tech billionaire who went silent after her company, Neuraski, was accused of manipulating neural data and playing God with people's memories. But up close, she didn't look like a villain. She looked like someone trying very hard not to fall apart. I jerry-rigged a bypass with some tubing from my own engine and prayed it would hold long enough for her to get into town. While I worked, we talked. Well, she talked, which surprised me. She told me how this was the first time she'd driven herself in 2 years, how she fired her entire PR team last week, how she was meeting a childhood friend she hadn't seen since the scandal broke, hoping for forgiveness she didn't think she deserved. "I built something to help people," she said softly as I wiped grease from my hands. "And when it went wrong, I shut the world out. I didn't fight back. I didn't speak. I just ran." Her voice broke, and I remembered a line from a book my late wife used to read. "The ones who run are often the ones who cared the most." I tightened the clamp and stepped back. "It'll get you where you're going. Just don't drive like you're in Monaco." She laughed for the first time, and something about the sound was brittle but beautiful. As she pulled away, she rolled down the window and said, "You didn't ask for anything. Why'd you help me?" I shrugged. Everyone deserves one person to stop for them, even if it makes them late. That line. It came back to haunt me just 10 minutes later when I finally pulled into Jordan and Emily's driveway. The party was already underway. I could hear laughter through the open kitchen window. I walked in with mud on my shoes and a head full of guilt. Emily stood in the kitchen, bouncing the baby on her hip. Her eyes met mine, and I saw it. That flicker. That sting of disappointment she tried to hide behind a smile. She handed the baby to Jordan and came over. "I thought maybe you forgot," she said, her voice just above a whisper. I told her everything. About the rain, the car, the woman, the name. When I said Aria Devlin, she froze. Emily used to work in neurotherapy years ago, before her hospital downsized. Aria's company had offered the only tech that helped stroke patients recover language. She had fought for it, believed in it. When the scandal broke, her funding vanished overnight. Her dream to help others shattered. "I hated her," Emily admitted. "I blamed her for everything." "I know," I said, "but she's not what they said. Or maybe she was, and now she's something else. People change." Emily's eyes welled up. "I'm sorry I was upset. It's just this year has been so hard, and I wanted one perfect day." "You got it," I said, putting my arm around her. It was just running a little late. That night, after the guests had gone and the baby was asleep, we sat in the backyard with a bottle of wine. Emily showed me an old journal she'd found while unpacking. A letter she wrote herself when she was 21. It was full of dreams. Start a clinic. Have a baby. Heal broken families. "I thought none of it would happen," she said. And now here we are. There was something powerful in that moment, in knowing that we all carry old wounds, old rage, and sometimes we aim it at the wrong people. But sometimes, too, life gives us a chance to rewrite our stories, not with grand gestures, but with small mercies. A week later, a package arrived at my door. Inside was a set of titanium mechanics tools, engraved with the words, "To the man who stopped." There was no return address. But I knew. Aria had kept driving, and so had I. So if anyone asks why I was late that day, I don't give them the whole story. I just say this, because someone broke down, and I remembered what it felt like to be broken too. And I'd do it again, every single time.